Have you heard about fermenting your chicken's feed? Well, everybody's doing it, so you should too. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, we're going to answer a question from one of our amazing viewers in just about 10 seconds. One of our favorite things to do is to read your comments and reply to them. Recently, we had a comment from Scott74763. Appreciate the comment. Scott says, "Greetings, Hobby Farm guys. I have a question about a hen acting as a surrogate rooster when there are no roosters in the flock. I've observed this across several breeds over many years in our backyard flock. Have you seen this behavior in your flocks?"
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's normal behavior, right? Every flock is going to have a pecking order, and somebody's going to be on top. When there's a rooster present, he's generally going to assume that role. When he's not, there will be a dominant hen, and she will be the boss, the protector, and she'll be even maybe a little more aggressive and a little more assertive than what she might normally be.
Yeah, in fact, in a flock of all hens, that boss hen may even take on some of the personality traits of a rooster because she's filling that role. And in some instances, she might even try to crow. It's not terribly common, but you will see it every once in a while.
All right. So in your houses, are you the hen or the rooster?
I'm the rooster, of course.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, we won't even go there. So let's move on to our main topic, fermenting feed. Sounds amazing. First of all, what is fermenting?
Well, fermenting is a process where microorganisms like bacteria and yeast are going to convert sugars and carbohydrates into other products.
Yeah.
Basically breaking down that feed.
So things like alcohol, carbon dioxide, right, other byproducts. And what that's going to do is it's going to actually alter not only the flavor and the texture, but also the accessibility of nutrients and the nutrient profile of that food. And that's one of the benefits that we see from fermenting food.
So that's one benefit. Maybe what are some others from fermenting your chicken feed?
Okay. Again, that's a big one, right? The nutrient absorption. By breaking that food down a little bit further, it makes it more accessible to your chicken to be able to grab the nutrients out of there and extract them. So you're feeding less, getting better returns on that food. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to help, and part of the way it does that is by improving gut health. It's going to work inside that chicken, make sure that she's got a healthy digestive system, which is able to properly process that nutrition. So that's another benefit.
Yeah, and along with being able to absorb more of those nutrients, byproduct of that is improved egg quality. So they're going to have healthier eggs with thicker shells and richer yolks. So that benefits us as well. Another benefit to us is reduced odor. So when you give your chickens some fermented feed, their poop tends to stink a little bit less. A little bit. It still stinks, but it might improve the odor a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So if my wife is watching this, she'll probably start fermenting all my food. Just saying.
It's not going to work.
You're right. So that sounds like there's a lot of benefits, a lot of good things from fermenting. Should you just ferment all of your chicken feed?
No. Fermented food shouldn't replace a balanced diet, only supplement it.
Yes.
You want to feed it to them daily, like you would a treat or something like that.
Yeah, but you can't have too much of a good thing, right? Fermented feed can make up a portion of the diet, but you don't want it to be all of it. You can get an overly acidic gut. It can lead to some other issues. So a chunk, 10, 15, 20% of the diet fermented. The other should still be the regular feed.
Yeah, you don't want to have too much of a good thing.
Yep.
So kind of like peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
I don't understand too much of.
Yeah, I mean, no more than, say, 2 or 3 of those Halloween bags of peanut butter cups a day.
At one sitting.
That's only about 15% of my diet. Okay, so let's talk about how you actually ferment your feed.
Well, it's actually not that difficult, right? Get a suitable container. So we're talking glass, plastic, something not metal, food safe, right? If you have a wider mouth on it, it's going to be easier than trying to work through a small mouth. So get a wide mouth jar, bucket, whatever. Add your food into the container. Cover it with water, right? Super tricky. So fill that container because you're going to get some expansion stuff. So fill that container maybe a third full. Cover it with 2-3 inches of water, right? And then you're going to lightly cover you don't want stuff falling in and getting in the container, but you want gases to be able to escape. So have a lid that just kind of sits on there loosely, not tight, so the gases can still come in and out. And then just leave it alone. Temperature is going to play a big role in fermentation. You want to maintain kind of that room temperature, 60 to 75 degrees. Too cold and it slows the process way down. Too warm and you get mold growing pretty fast. So but most of us live in a house that's kind of in that range, so it's just set it on the counter and wait.
Yeah, once you've prepared your container and you set it on the counter, it's probably a good idea maybe once a day, no more than twice a day, go by and stir that mixture up. When you do that, though, you want to do it very gently and lightly. You don't want to really stir everything up and have some of that feed up on the surface of the water or anything like that. As long as that food stays submerged in the water, it's going to begin to ferment. And you can check for signs like some small bubbles on the surface, that tangy yogurt smell coming from the container. And really after about 2-3 days, maybe 4, it's going to be ready to go.
Yeah, and back to what you said, I don't even stir mine at all. I know a lot of places tell you to stir it. So what's happening, that fermentation, you've got the bacteria things in there, they're anaerobic, so they don't like oxygen. When you stir that, you're adding oxygen back in that mix, and that grows a different type of bacteria that you don't want. So it's okay if you want to agitate it a little bit, but like you said, don't go after it hard, just leave it.
You just want to make sure that water
Everything
is really
gets
covering every surface of all the food
clumps
particles.
Bound together in there that aren't letting things in. So.
All right. So would you guys recommend making just a big batch and you can then feed it for a week or two?
No, that's not going to work out very well for you. And the reason is that fermented feed can spoil very easily. Ideally, you want to have several containers so that you have feed for today, then feed for tomorrow, and then feed for the next day. You can keep some leftover fermented feed in the refrigerator for a day, maybe 2, but I wouldn't go any longer than that.
Yeah, it's really a build it and use it that same day, because basically you're starting to rot that food is what you're doing, right? So you haven't got a lot of shelf life. The other thing is you don't have you don't just want to dump a whole bunch outside either, because you're going to have that same problem. That food's going to go bad, it's going to spoil, it's going to make a mess, and then your chicken's going to be eating that. So you only want to feed them what they're going to be able to eat that day, in the next few minutes or whatever. One thing that you kind of brought up about saving, as you feed that feed, if you save back a little bit, even just the water that you started with, that's already kind of inoculated with what you want, and it's going to speed up your next batch. So, when you're ready to harvest that, pour that water off and save it, go feed the feed, and then use that water as a starter for the next days that you put in there, and then add more water as needed. It's kind of a tip.
All right. So how do you know if it's spoiled?
You'll know. You get a putrid, kind of rotten, very yeasty smell that comes up, and you'll just want to, if that happens, don't try and feed it. Think, oh, I'm going to save money. It's bad, right? If you don't want to eat it, don't feed it to your chickens. Just get rid of it.
You know how you know when the milk is spoiled? As soon as you open up the container, you're going to know that it's spoiled. You might also see visible mold growing on the surface of the feed. If so, just get rid of it and start a new batch and move on.
Well, actually, that sounds kind of simple, because coming into this, I thought, wow, that's got to be pretty hard.
Yeah, it actually is pretty simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I want to know, do you guys ferment your feed often?
So I have. I do typically in the winter. So I grow fodder in the winter. And fodder, basically, you start off the same way. You start that fermentation, but then you put it out and you let it sprout. Sometimes I'll hold a little bit back and let it go a little bit further and then feed that. It just kind of depends.
I have not done fermented feed for my flock. I am considering starting it this winter.
So if you feed spoiled food to your chicken, how quickly will you know something's wrong?
Well, you know how if you get food poisoning,
Yeah.
you figure it out pretty quick. Your chickens will get sick pretty quick too. being much smaller animals, they have less tolerance for that, meaning it's going to affect them even worse than it affects you, quite possibly. So don't give them spoiled food.
And here's the thing: you're using small amounts. It's not like it's that big a deal. If it does, you miss it or it gets too warm, and if you get a little bit of mold on the top of the water, you can scrape that off. But if you get mold in the feed, you need to get rid of that.
Yeah.
All right. Have any of you out in YouTube land tried fermenting your food? Let us know about it. Maybe there's some tricks or tips that you guys have done. And, was it a pain in the butt for you? Or do you find it pretty easy? So share your experience below in the comments or any other questions you might have about hobby farming, chickens, whatever. Football. We'll answer.
Keep in mind, the genesis was a question from a viewer who asked about fermenting feeds. So, if you have those questions, drop them, and they may just make a brand new video. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Anything else?
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us.
Yep.
We need help. We really need help.
A lot of help. And as always, keep on hobby farming.